That lone hand has raised
Subversive.
Actually, that is one more than I expected, I have to be honest.
Fuck no. Sorry, we are uncensored, but oh my God, the idea there's any comparison between Diana, who was the biggest star.
Drama begins the way all Meghan Markle media storms start, with a whisper. A tiny rumor, just a tremor on social media. But then, bam, a Piers Morgan-sized bomb explodes on the internet, and suddenly the world is on fire. And this time, the blast is massive. Why? Because Piers didn't just speak, he dropped an unseen, never-before-heard interview, buried for years, and this footage doesn't just hint at trouble for Meghan Markle, it ignites a wildfire. Now, here's the part that truly makes this explosive. Meghan reportedly lost it the moment the clip dropped. She didn't just get mad, she detonated, one insider spilled. So, how did we get here? It all started when Piers teased a personal project on X, claiming he had stumbled upon old recordings of interviews that the palace had never cleared. Everyone thought it was just harmless royal gossip, a few juicy behind-the-scenes moments maybe, but no one was ready for what came next. The clip surfaces,
Behavior became obnoxious, self-serving, and rankly hypocritical.
time-stamped, and unmistakably real. Piers is sitting across from a mystery person whose voice is blurred and face hidden. At first, it seems like just another anonymous producer or a low-level palace aide. But then the audio shifts. The voice becomes clearer, and then boom, one sentence that sent Meghan spiraling. She always said her plan was bigger than Harry. Much bigger. 6 words. 6 words that set the internet on fire. The royal detectives, the YouTube analysts, the body language experts, they all went wild. Theories exploded. Who was the speaker? Was it a palace insider? A former staffer? Someone who worked closely with Meghan back in the day? Then Piers dropped the real bombshell. This was part of an interview we were never allowed to air. And just like that, this went from a little tea spill to a full-on Category 5 media hurricane. Within minutes, hashtags erupted across social media. Hashtag Megasit 2.0, hashtag Piers vs. Meghan, hashtag bigger than Harry. People dissected that audio like forensic scientists. Some enhanced it, slowed it down, others swore they recognized the voice. Who was it? A staff member Meghan had
Action taken by the palace to stop Archie being a prince based on his potential.
clashed with, a former friend, a Suits co-worker. Theories raged. But by lunchtime, memes were flying, reaction videos flooded in, and by evening, news alerts were everywhere. But behind the scenes, something even more dramatic was unfolding. Meghan's camp, they were in full meltdown mode. Not just annoyed, not frustrated, full-on volcanic eruption. The clip wasn't just embarrassing, it utterly obliterated the carefully curated narrative Meghan had spent years building. The one where she joined the royal family humbly, innocently, with no grand ambitions. This clip demolished that story, and Meghan knew it. The insiders say that Meghan immediately called in her inner circle, PR, legal, crisis communications, the whole team. Phones out, documents up, screens glowing like they were preparing for a battle. We need to shut this down, she reportedly said. We need to shut him down. But here's the thing about Piers Morgan, he thrives on this. The moment Meghan flinches, he comes at her even harder. And oh boy did he. That very evening, he posted a cryptic message. There's much more where that came from. The panic was immediate. Lawyers fired off letters, advisors called every network they could think of, PR managers were spinning like a cyclone. The palace, they said nothing. Not a word in public anyway. But behind those stone walls, they were watching. Quietly, probably with popcorn. And here's the thing, the monarchy never forgets. Never forgives. And they sure as hell never miss a chance to let someone dig their own grave. Meanwhile, journalists went into overdrive. Who was this mysterious voice? A former friend? Someone who saw the grand plan? Speculation raged, and Piers kept teasing more audio, more stories he promised, claiming these were the tapes the palace had tried to bury. The bombshell wasn't just that someone accused Meghan of being ambitious, it was that someone credible had said it on tape to a major broadcast. broadcaster. And that tape had been buried for years. Meghan's lawyers were working overtime, trying to figure out who leaked the footage and how it resurfaced. But here's the thing, once something's out, it's out. Screenshots flooded the internet, backup copies went viral, and Meghan realized she'd lost control of the narrative once again. People didn't care if the claims were true. The real question was, if it was nothing, why was it buried? Who was protecting her? And the one question that cut the deepest, did Meghan always plan to outgrow Harry? Meanwhile, Piers was riding the chaos like a pro. He smirked on air, dropping little bombshells left and right. You think that was the only recording? He teased. You think Meghan told everyone the whole truth? It was peak Piers, messy, petty, and impossible to look away from. But for Meghan, this wasn't entertainment. This was war. She was fighting not just Piers, but the public perception, the silent calculations from the palace, Harry's strained patience, and the whispers that someone from her inner circle was ready to turn on her. As the dust settled, one thing was clear, Piers was just getting started. This wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. And the internet, it found the voice. Within hours, social media experts confirmed the identity of the speaker. It wasn't just a random acquaintance. It was someone who had seen Meghan's plan from the very start. Someone who helped shape her transition from Hollywood actress to royal hopeful. Someone who knew exactly how she planned her career moves. And then the real bomb dropped. Piers teased a second clip. Let's move to clip number 2. No buildup. No warning. The next grainy segment appeared, and the mystery insider said it all. She always said the goal wasn't to join the royal family. It was to outgrow them. Just 5 seconds, but that was all it took. The internet exploded. Meghan's team, they went into full lockdown mode. Crisis lawyers, urgent calls, digital damage control, anything to stop the bleeding. But the palace? Silence. Not a single leak, not a word of reassurance, nothing. And that silence was deafening. Why? Because if this insider was speaking now, it meant that others could be ready to spill more. The memoirs, the interviews, the former friends selling stories, all of it suddenly felt like it was just around the corner. The most chilling part? Meghan's ex-husband, Trevor Engelson, who had always remained mysteriously silent, suddenly popped back onto the radar. Not because he spoke, but because he turned off all Instagram comments the moment the Piers clip hit. He went offline, and everyone knew exactly what that meant. If Trevor ever chose to speak, he would have the kind of story Meghan didn't want anyone hearing. By the next morning, Piers was enjoying every minute of it. When asked about the identity leak, he shrugged and said, "I didn't name anyone, the public did." And then, with a devilish grin, he added, "And now let's move to clip number 2. Meghan's PR team? They were in full meltdown mode. Phones ringing off the hook, social media being monitored, every headline contested. But no one was ready to defend her this time. The palace wasn't stepping in, and the media, they all sensed which way the wind was blowing. In the midst of all this chaos, one thing became painfully clear: Meghan had lost control. And Piers, he knew exactly how to make the most of it. The pressure was mounting. The clock was ticking, and with every passing minute, the world was inching closer to the next bombshell. Behind closed doors, Meghan's team was scrambling. Lawyers were working overtime, preparing legal threats to every network, every media outlet that dared to run with the story. The phone calls were endless, but despite the frenzy, nothing could stop the storm from raging. The internet was on fire. Social media was ablaze with every new revelation. The question everyone wanted answered: why now? Why had this mysterious voice chosen this exact moment to speak out? Was it really a case of a disgruntled former friend or staffer? Was this person someone who had been quietly watching from the sidelines all these years, just waiting for the right moment to expose Meghan's true intentions? Or was it something even darker? Meghan's lawyers weren't just trying to block Piers, they were trying to bury the entire narrative before it spiraled any further. But the harder they tried to control the situation, the more the internet seemed to dig in. Journalists were on the hunt for any clue that could crack this case wide open. They combed through years of interviews, statements, social media posts, and of course, the mysterious person's voice. Some even claimed that Meghan's voice was in the clip clip at one point, whispering in the background. The theories kept getting more outlandish, but they kept gaining traction. As the clock struck midnight, another crucial piece fell into place. Piers didn't wait for the dust to settle, he kept fanning the flames. In his typical fashion, he teased more, dropping hints about additional footage. And the media? They lapped it up. Every time he dropped a hint, more theories emerged. Was the next clip going to be even more damaging? Was this just the tip of the iceberg? But the most chilling thing was Meghan's increasing desperation. Sources close to her revealed that she was no longer just trying to contain the story. She was preparing for something much bigger, something she feared would come for her entire public persona. Her team was bracing for impact, knowing that the longer this went on, the more people would start asking questions about her true intentions. Questions she couldn't afford to answer. As the night dragged on, the online frenzy only grew. The hashtag #OutgrowThem started to trend. It was everywhere. People were dissecting every word spoken in the clip, analyzing every syllable, hidden meanings. Was Meghan truly aiming to outgrow the royal family, or was this just a misunderstanding? Was it a calculated ambition, or was it simply a slip-up caught on tape? The theories were wild. Some claimed that the "outgrow them" comment was a veiled admission of Meghan's ultimate ambition to eclipse the monarchy, not just exist within it. Others saw it as a bitter rejection of Harry's family. Whatever the case, it was clear that the conversation had shifted. No longer was Meghan just seen as the woman who wanted to be a princess. Now, she was a player in a much bigger game. The media, ever thirsty for more, began to dig into Meghan's past. They turned over every stone, searching for clues about who this mysterious voice could belong to. Was it someone who had seen the rise of Meghan Markle from humble actress to the Duchess of Sussex? A person who knew her before the royal titles? Someone who had been part of her early days when her ambition was still in its infancy, just beginning to take shape? Piers Morgan, ever the provocateur, kept the heat on. He mocked Meghan's team, suggesting that the desperation in her camp only proved that they were losing control. If they were really confident, they wouldn't be reacting like this, he said on air. His words were sharp, designed to dig deeper into the wound. It was clear that he was enjoying every second of this. The drama, the chaos, the spectacle. Meanwhile, Meghan's team scrambled. Legal teams were consulted. Crisis communication strategies were refined. No stone was left unturned. But despite all the effort, it seemed like nothing could silence the growing storm. By the time the next morning arrived, the story had morphed from a royal whisper into an international debate. Meghan's public image was now on the line, and every new piece of footage, every new revelation seemed to push her further from the carefully constructed narrative she had worked so hard to build. And as the media buzzed and the internet exploded with new theories and speculation, one question loomed larger than all the rest. Could Meghan survive this? Could she rebuild her reputation after a moment like this? Or was the damage irreparable? For Meghan, the stakes had never been higher. This was no longer about defending a single clip. This was about defending everything she had fought for, everything she had built. The palace remained silent. As the royal family observed from the shadows, their silence became a powerful force in itself. Were they simply letting Meghan handle her own mess? Or was there more at play here? Was the monarchy waiting for Meghan to expose herself completely before they made their move?